Thanks so much for joining the Santa Fe Watershed Association as we explore the important relationships between soil and water within the context of the Santa Fe River watershed.
My name is Aaron Kaufman.
I'm Maury Hensley. The Santa Fe River travels 46 miles from its headwaters at Lake Peak through the city of Santa Fe, Agua Fria, La Cienega, La Cieneguilla, and La Bajada to its confluence with the Rio Grande at Cochiti Pueblo. Its watershed covers over 180,000 acres, which contain remarkable diversity in terms of underlying geology, ecology, human culture and history, and the constant interaction of these factors. This unique and sacred landscape has shaped and been shaped by numerous human societies spanning millennia and continuing to the present. In the next few minutes, we will be going over the main themes discussed throughout this 5-part video series and giving a brief description of the 5 healthy soil principles. Whether your local soil lies within the boundaries of the Santa Fe River watershed or a different watershed, we hope that some of the concepts and histories we'll be discussing throughout the series will provide you with useful information and inspiration for your own explorations of soil and watershed stewardship. Even though we interact with and depend on soil every day, it's easy to overlook its importance. So much more than just dirt, soils are the living ecosystems beneath our feet, homes, streets, crops, rivers, and lakes. In addition to providing the substrate and nutrients our food crops need to grow, healthy soils sequester carbon, increase biodiversity, and even improve ecosystem resilience to a wide range of disturbances.
Soil properties play a crucial role in watershed hydrology, including infiltration, stormwater runoff, soil moisture availability for plants, aquifer recharge, and more. The following videos will review the impacts of soil management on the Santa Fe River and greater watershed hydrology, including historical grazing and farming, current impervious development, and the potential for wildfire in the upper watershed. The concluding video will present methods to rehabilitate soils in order to reduce erosion, improve fertility, and store water. To fully appreciate the influence that soil has on watershed hydrology, however, it is important to understand the factors that characterize healthy soils. The following presentation is intended to introduce the 5 healthy soil principles and their implications on soil hydrology. The first principle of healthy soil is to keep soil covered. Uncovered or bare soil is prone to raindrop impact, which can seal the surface and reduce infiltration. This condition can then lead to erosion by wind and water. Bare soil also lacks insulation from direct sun, which leads to increased evaporation and warmer temperatures that are less conducive to good microbial life.
As soil erodes and becomes inhospitable to microorganisms, it can no longer store water or carbon. Keeping soil covered helps protect soil moisture, prevent extreme temperature fluctuations, and slow the forces of erosion. This helps biota in the soil survive, which in turn helps store water, carbon, and other nutrients. Good soil cover in the watershed could include a litter duff layer in the forests, properly managed grazing on grasslands, and undisturbed vegetation in wetlands.
The second principle of healthy soils is to minimize soil disturbance on cropland and to reduce external inputs. Disturbances could include plowing or tilling, while external inputs might be chemical fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides. Plowing or tilling soil is often used as a method to loosen topsoil to promote infiltration, reduce weed cover, and mix external nutrients such as manure. Within the context of soil hydrology, plowing can be harmful because it breaks down the natural structure of soils. Structure can be negatively impacted in at least 2 ways. A plow tends to scrape soils at a common depth, which leaves behind a platy soil structure that reduces soil porosity and prevents water from percolating down in the soil profile. The second way in which structure is reduced is that soil is turned over by the plow and exposed to raindrop impact prior to germination of crops. These tiny droplets of water will break down the crumbly structure, indicative of good soil porosity and aeration. As these tiny aggregates are broken down, the soil becomes more prone to erosion from wind and runoff. An alternative to plowing is through no-till agriculture. This method of seeding relies on leaving the previous season's organic waste, such as plant husks and stalks, on the ground before direct seeding of the new crop. The organic waste provides cover over what would otherwise be bare soil. The decomposition of organic matter also releases nutrients for new plants, while direct seeding minimizes disturbance to underlying soil organisms.
The third principle of healthy soils is to maximize biodiversity. Biodiversity is the number of different species and the abundance of individuals represented from each species, from microscopic bacteria and fungi to flowers and grasses, to worms, bees, deer, mountain lions, and birds. Healthy soil relies on lots of living things. The loss of organic rich topsoil to erosion after plowing can leave the soil with diminished nutrient fertility and lead to the introduction of chemical fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides as a means to mitigate the imbalance of soil productivity. These chemicals can negatively impact organisms above and below ground. Diminished productivity from soil organisms will slow the process of recreating the soil structure needed for good infiltration and plant-available soil moisture. Maximizing biodiversity to improve soil health could include leaving crop waste as cover and integrating compost into soils to reduce the need for fertilizers, mechanically removing undesired plants or weeds to eliminate the need for herbicides, and maintaining a diversity of plants in the form of pollinator buffers or integrating numerous crops to draw in beneficial insects to help reduce the need for pesticides.
The fourth principle of healthy soils is to maintain living roots. Roots vary in length, size, and depth, but ultimately play a critical role in soil hydrology. Roots can break up more compacted ground, which improves porosity and water movement through the soil profile. Root surfaces also serve as a site for bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms to exchange nutrients with plants. In some cases, microorganisms living on roots have been shown to break down stormwater pollutants such as petroleum products, which might otherwise enter our streams and aquifers. Ensuring diverse and prolonged root systems in soils by encouraging warm and cool season grasses and pastures, planting a variety of crops in agricultural sites, and choosing perennials over annuals in gardens are just a few methods to maintain living roots. The fifth principle of healthy soils is to integrate animals. Domestic and wild animals can both positively impact soil health and watershed hydrology. With properly managed grazing, ungulates can improve soil fertility with their manure and by mixing post-harvest crop waste into the soil surface. Animals such as goats can be used to browse woody perennials so that more herbaceous understory can re-emerge and stabilize bare soils. Prairie dogs, moles, and other burrowing animals can improve deeper infiltration during large precipitation events, while beaver can reconnect incised or eroded rivers with the floodplain where water can be stored over longer periods in the soil.
Bird diversity can help control pest outbreaks, and pollinator diversity can help improve crop productivity. Sharing urban and agricultural land with various species of wildlife can also help them adapt and avoid extinction. You've probably heard of slow it, spread it, sink it, and for good reason. We could probably say this is a sixth principle of healthy soil. The role of water is a vital component of improving soil health and overall landscape hydration, especially in the extremely arid ecosystems like those we find in northern New Mexico. Over the next 4 videos, join us at different sites around the watershed to learn about the power of water to both support healthy soil and to degrade vulnerable soil. At each site, we also hope to present a more nuanced picture of how all the healthy soil principles are best applied in local contexts. We will discuss the landscape factors that we as soil and watershed stewards need to consider and work around, but are outside of our control, such as geology, topography, climate, soil history, and nearby development and land management. We also discuss some of the factors we can control, such as desired time frame, stewardship area, plant and animal composition, inputs, investments of time and money, and the desired relationship of our soil to the local and regional ecology. Ultimately, there is never one right way to manage soil or any ecological feature. Everything depends on the management goals. So we invite you to think about your own goals and relationships to your local soil in the hope that we can all contribute to building a healthier, more hydrated world from the ground up. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the rest of our series. See you around the watershed.